Walk into a rest area restroom at 2 in the morning and count how many truckers walked in there alone. On the worst stops, the answer is almost zero. Drivers pair up for that walk the same way soldiers move in twos through unfamiliar territory, because the 30 seconds between the cab and the building is when most incidents actually happen. Nobody wrote that rule down anywhere. Drivers built it themselves, one bad stop at a time. Tonight we are ranking 20 of those stops, worst first, and closing on the single most documented danger zone in American trucking history. Like this video and subscribe now for more of these kinds of stories, because what sits at the very top of this list has its own federal task force attached to it. And here is a real question for the comments. What is the exact feeling that tells you a lot is wrong before you have even fully parked? Say your honest answer below. That is exactly what we are breaking down today. Number 20 is the isolated western stretch. Long interstate corridors through sparsely populated states swing between completely empty and suddenly packed during tourist season, and neither extreme gets proper staffing. Out here, the threat is not a crowd, it is distance. A broken door lock or a busted taillight stops being an inconvenience and becomes the entire problem when help is 40 minutes away and your phone has no bars. Number 19 is the storm funnel. Certain corridors sit where several state highways feed into one interstate, creating a natural bottleneck. Severe weather regularly bunches trucks together at the same public stops for hours, and a crowded, exhausted lot in the dark is a target-rich environment for anyone testing door handles. Number 18 is the construction squeeze. When state transportation departments close a rest area for rebuilding, and this happens constantly across major freight corridors, every truck that would have used it piles into whatever stop remains open. Overcrowding, aggressive panhandling, and driver boxed into a lot with no legal parking left anywhere nearby all follow. Number 17 is the interstate funnel near a major state border. Where two major interstates cross, the resulting stop becomes a shopping mall for opportunistic thieves who can be back on the highway in under 2 minutes. Add hours of driver fatigue on top of that traffic volume, and drivers become slower to notice they are being watched. Quick pause. If this kind of practical rest stop safety breakdown interests you, hit subscribe now so you do not miss the next one, because the pattern only gets more serious from here. Number 16 is the layered desert risk. Certain mountain and desert corridors combine vehicle break-ins with genuine environmental danger, since extreme heat can turn a simple breakdown into a medical emergency within the hour. The threat here comes from two directions at once: the person casing your truck and the environment actively working against you. Number 15 is the border corridor with a documented crime pattern. Stops near international boundaries and staging points before major cities frequently carry repeated law enforcement advisories about property crime and after-dark loitering. When regional infrastructure has been strained by natural disasters or chronic underfunding, a rest area does not need an active crime wave to become dangerous. Bad lighting and thin staffing do it on their own. Number 14 is the economically pressured region. Stops located in counties with significant financial strain tend to inherit that pressure directly, with minimal visible staffing and slower emergency response. Drivers describe the same recurring picture: an isolated lot, people lingering with no clear reason to be there, and no confidence anyone is watching. Number 13 is the East Coast high-volume corridor. Some of the busiest interstate rest areas in the country sit in regions that have wrestled with serious crime problems for decades, and years of law enforcement bulletins have warned about vehicle theft and suspicious approaches, specifically in these lots after dark. Number 12 is the overloaded logistics hub. Massive freight corridors running through major distribution cities absorb every side effect of that volume: vehicle theft, drug activity, and severe truck parking shortages that force exhausted drivers into whatever spot they can physically find, safe or not. Number 11 is the trafficking corridor. Certain interstate stretches near international crossings see a level of law enforcement attention that reveals exactly what regularly moves through them. Anti-trafficking organizations have partnered directly with drivers at truck stops along these corridors, specifically because rest areas are where this particular crime operates in plain sight. If you are still with me, tap that like button now. It genuinely helps this kind of story reach more drivers who need to see it. Number 10 is the officially abandoned stop. In some states, transportation departments have closed entire rest area clusters outright, citing overwhelming vandalism, trash, and direct threats against maintenance staff. When maintenance crews start traveling in pairs for their own safety and the agency locks the gate rather than keep staffing it, that is not a rumor. That is an official admission of what has been happening there after dark. Number 9 is the armed guard stop. A handful of states have gone even further, stationing armed security guards permanently at specific rest areas after vandalism and theft became relentless enough that closing the stop entirely was not an option drivers could afford. When a state hires armed personnel to protect a rest area bathroom, that tells you plainly what the alternative looked like. Number 8 is the overflow encampment zone. Certain valley and farmland corridors combine chronic rest area closures for repairs with nearby homelessness and cargo theft pressure spilling directly onto highway infrastructure that was never built to manage any of it at once. Number 7 is the reputation stop. Some rest areas earn a permanent warning status among drivers based purely on years of word of mouth, the kind of place veteran drivers say they would never send a solo traveler to. These stops run on reputation more than any single statistic, and newer drivers who ignore the warnings often learn why the hard way. Number 6 is the 50-year problem. Certain major truck stop clusters near large metro areas have carried the same complaint from drivers for decades, people working the lots after dark and doors getting tested all night long. Security councils that track cargo theft have flagged specific high-risk stops along these corridors and told drivers plainly to route around them. Number 5 is the tragedy that proves isolation cuts both ways. Violent incidents at remote, seemingly peaceful interstate rest stops have occurred specifically because everything that makes an isolated stop feel calm, the distance from town, the quiet, also removes any crowd to disappear into and any second option if something goes wrong. Number 4 is the case that broke the illusion of the designated stop. Multiple documented killings of drivers have occurred not in notorious lots or risky corridors, but inside their own cab at a completely ordinary, legally designated rest area, doing exactly what the system tells every driver is the safe and responsible thing to do. Sometimes the sign that says rest area is just a sign. Number 3 is the truck stop, tied to a name investigators still study today. In 2007, the body of a woman named Sarah Hulbert was found behind a truck stop in Nashville. A homicide detective returned to that same stop, recognized a truck matching a description tied to earlier cases, and began a conversation with its driver. That conversation eventually connected the killing to a pattern investigators had already suspected: long-haul routes used as cover for predators who pick victims up at one stop and are states away before anyone notices anything wrong. Number 2 belongs to a single name that gave an entire category of crime its nickname: the truck stop killer. Robert Ben Rhodes converted the sleeper cab of his rig into a hidden holding compartment, restraining and torturing victims picked up along his routes over roughly 15 years before a state trooper's routine roadside stop in Arizona finally ended it. He was convicted of murder in Illinois and later pleaded guilty to 2 more killings in Texas, and investigators have connected his pattern to dozens of additional suspected victims never fully confirmed. He remains one of the clearest documented examples of how the isolation of long-haul trucking can shield a predator for years. Number 1 is not a single lot. It is the corridor connecting all of it. In the early 2000s, an Oklahoma crime analyst noticed a pattern: murdered women turning up along the same interstate stretch after being picked up somewhere else entirely. That observation grew into the FBI's Highway Serial Killings Initiative, a database that now links well over 700 murder victims and hundreds of suspects to long-haul trucking routes nationwide, with investigators describing an 18-wheeler as a mobile crime scene capable of crossing 3 jurisdictions before anyone connects the pieces. So why do these same patterns keep repeating year after year, corridor after corridor, no matter how much awareness grows around them? Because isolation does not change quickly, underfunded regions take years to recover, and once a stretch of highway earns a reputation among drivers and investigators alike, that reputation reflects something real that took decades to build. It is not really about any single bad stop being permanently unsafe forever. It is about recognizing the pattern early enough to make a smarter call before pulling in for the night, not after something has already gone wrong. If you are an actual driver, what is your own personal do not stop rule, the one thing that makes you keep driving instead of parking for the night? Drop it in the comments, and if you have never driven a truck at all, does knowing what actually sits behind that reputation change how you think about the drivers keeping store shelves stocked while you sleep? Subscribe if you want more of the real stories behind the routes that move this country.